really going to be discussing over the next hour and a half the contours of how social accountability can shape access and enjoyment of sexual and reproductive health and rights in the context of marginalized, disenfranchised, and disadvantaged groups. In the context of social accountability, how are we looking at sexual and reproductive rights and health? And I think the term rights here is the big one in question, and Rajat sitting here has flagged and problematized the way rights are being appropriated and, should I say, technologized or governmentalized in today's kind of practice of governments and multilaterals and bigger donors. So the question really is on how do we look at rights? And in this domain, I think we've had a significant focus looking at women and girls as rights holders. But I think a lot of us, especially those who have been working with some of the more sexual health and rights domains, have realized we need to also step out of the binaries of just talking about women and girls and men and boys. We need to recognize the spectrum of gender identities and sexual orientations. And we also, when we're talking about sexual and reproductive health and rights, we need to have a much more expanded domain within which we interrogate and work to promote and fulfill these rights. So that's one thought I would like everyone to consider. Also because last evening at the inaugural session, we had a very passionate call from the transgender community saying, do you include us when you talk about entitlements, when you talk about social accountability? Are we included in that social? So I think that's an important question that has been raised and which all of us need to be mindful of. The second aspect, I think, which has come out through discussions last evening at the inaugural, but also in other satellite sessions where I was privileged to be part, is the fundamental question of power. And this also came to my mind this morning when I heard Jonathan Fox speaking. And I was wondering, why are the struggles for social accountability always amongst those who are powerless, who are deprived, denied, and marginalized?
I'll just share my thoughts. I think we need an inter-country strategy sharing from whatever I've heard from the two tables. There are many people that we have like similar things that are happening to us, and I'm sure there are different strategies that we have approached some of these issues. So we need to share those, I think, to help us as advocates around the world?
I think I was at the table that discussed the Roma population, and I think, and in general, I think there's need to interrogate citizenship, because that came up very strongly at that table, and which is also very relevant when we discuss sexual and reproductive health and rights. I won't go.
And the thing that struck me is also the same question I had about who holds the social accountability. And there, this, you could, I mean, what came up for me is that you can have access, the services are available, forget the quality, but the kind of deep biases among the service providers, whether it's in Delhi or in Romania, is pretty much the same. And till that is addressed, like in Delhi, they ask the young girls, why do you have sex? I mean, you have to remain a virgin. Or, the notions that Romas are dirty and they need a separate ward and they can't. These are so deeply entrenched, and when you talk about accountability, till we address some of these difficult issues, I think things won't be really completely resolved.
One conversation that we were having on this table was in the context of young people seeking accountability, especially if we're talking about sexual and reproductive rights. I think the problem is that there are hierarchies in the communities as well, and when we look at the community and ensuring that the voices of the community is sort of limelighted, is in forefront, a lot of times there is backlash from parents, from people who are in authority in the community, and that is one major challenge in terms of ensuring that young people's rights, young people's access to comprehensive sexuality education, sexual and reproductive rights is ensured, that there is going to be a backlash from the community.
ನಮ್ಮ ಅನಿಸಿಕೆ ಏನಂದರೆ, ಈಗ ಕೆಲವೊಬ್ಬರು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಓದಕ್ಕೆ ಬರೆಯೋರು ಇದ್ದೀರಿ, ನಮಗೂ ಓದಕ್ಕೆ ಬರೆಯೋಕ್ಕೆ ಬರೋಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಆದರೆ ನಾವೊಂದು ದಲಿತರಾಗಿ, ಮಹಿಳೆಯರಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಒಂದು ಸಮಾಜದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾಯಿದ್ದೀವಲ್ಲ, ಇವತ್ತು ನಾವು ಓದಕ್ಕೆ ಬರೆಯೋಕ್ಕೆ ಬರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೂ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ವಿಷಯಗಳನ್ನು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ರೀತಿಯಿಂದ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂತೀವಿ. ಇವತ್ತು ನಮಗೆ ಭಾಷೆ ಬದಲಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಆದರೆ ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಗುರಿ ಉದ್ದೇಶ ಒಂದೇ ಐತೆ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೀನಿ.
What she's telling is like, I am sitting in front of all educated people. I have not done any education, but the thought process is like same. We are working for the one thing. All.
Well said. So I think very rich sort of discussions and reflections coming together from listening to people really struggling on the ground. And I'm just kind of leaving everyone with a few thoughts that are, emerging from what I've been listening to the last hour and a half. And I think one of the things that we are calling for here, and I'm also listening to Eugene saying this, and I think you also said this, is that we need solidarity and strategizing across countries. So there are such similar issues that are coming up. There needs to be much more of this kind of platforms for sharing. And I think the sort of SR-HR world, if we can call it that, there was very strong strategizing after the Cairo ICPD, which is obviously 25 years down, not so vibrant and not so kind of, all there. So perhaps we need to go back to some of those questions, and Geeta is here and Vanita and others are here. I mean, way back in the early 90s, the same questions are kind of coming around to, sort of hit us in the teeth. So the solidarity, the strategizing, the sharing across countries is important. We need to have those platforms.